The Rap Roundtable.
Yes, sir. The Rap Roundtable is back on deck. Thank you to everyone who pulled up for that live this past Monday. Great numbers on that. A couple of new subscribers. Appreciate y'all pulling up. All the super chats, we appreciate y'all because, you know, we had some action. You know what I mean?
Hey.
But before we continue, we appreciate all the support. And if you're here for the first time, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notifications to get familiar with us each and every time we drop. Because if you don't do that, YouTube might not let you know when we drop, and then you'll miss out on all the good content that comes out from the Rap Roundtable. Your boy Jarv here alongside Sister the Rap Snob.
What up, what up?
Alongside the homie Mace.
Yo.
Normally it's 4 of us here, but Dini's out in the mix at a De La Soul event. You know what I mean? A celebration of life. Shout out to Dini, shout out to De La Soul.
Yeah,
you know
lucky
what I mean?
him, he got a ticket.
Oh yeah, shit. Yeah, I mean we weren't so lucky, but we're here for a good time, not a long time, fellas. We see a quote came out from a interview. I'm gonna have Sim pull up the source where Lil Wayne had some. I'm gonna stall while you get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where Lil Wayne had some comments about the Billboard list. Well, let's be fair to Wayne. The list was kind of lobbed in his direction, and the way it was framed, it kind of seemed like the host was trying to set Wayne up for the hot take, and that host was successful in getting Wayne to give that hot take. If you believe it or not, rock, you don't know what's going on. It's that Billboard Top 50 Rappers list, Hip Hop 50. This is the 50-year anniversary of hip hop, and Lil Wayne was number 7.
Yeah, I mean, we should have talked about it enough. You know what I mean?
Thanks.
You know what I mean?
We get out of school.
We did. I felt like we talked about it. We talked about it. Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We did. You read? You got the quotes in?
Yeah, I got the quote right here.
Let's get it.
So there's a tweet. Lil Wayne basically reacts to, as you said, the Billboard and Bob collab greatest rappers of all time list. Zane Lowe, who works for what is it? Apple, some Apple related, right? Some Apple.
One of them Apple Music shows, I guess.
Yeah, one of them Apple Music shows. And basically, Zane lobbed it over to him and said, you know, you was number 7. You had, you know, Pac, Big, Nas, Eminem, all these people ahead of Jay-Z, Nas. And he was like, at first, he was kind of diplomatic about it and was like, I'm kind of okay with that. But then Zane put the battery in his back and was like, you know, if it was up to me, you know what I mean, you'd be 1, 2, or 3. And then, you know, obviously, you know, Wayne took the lob and was like, well, you know, if you ask me, I'm number 1. But here's the part. We're all used to this. We're all accustomed to this. Number 1 rappers are always saying they're number 1. They're the best ever. But number 2 are obviously Wayne. Wayne's been saying it. He's the best rapper alive since, you know, as long as I can remember now. But the part that like really irked me was that he was like, he kind of alluded to like the rappers on the list that were ahead of him that were no longer alive, and was like, you know, R.I.P. to them, but I'm still the best ever. You know what I mean? And
that's crazy.
That like really, you know, that really got kind of under my skin a little bit, man.
But Sid, before you start, you know, because I feel like I know where you're going. Let's hear from a Lil Wayne fan on the show. You know,
yeah, please.
The Wayne fans usually pull up when we don't have nice things to say. So I figure for a change, we'll give Lil Wayne some light first before there's some potential slander. So
yes,
Mace, talk to me about Wayne's comments and how you feel about his placement on that list.
Hey, we not only talking about a Lil Wayne fan, we talking about somebody that after Mount Rushmore 4 that we've already established, Wayne is my top 5. That's my 5th pick, is Lil Wayne. So you're talking to a person, you know, who's a big fan, and
not big enough,
you know,
for
Wayne
1, 2, 3,
fans.
4, though?
I mean, I gotta be realistic here, Sim.
Okay,
but
some levity.
But us Wayne fans, I believe the first time, you know, just like Sin said, he's been calling himself the best rapper alive since, in his words, the best rapper retired. When Hov first retired after the Black album. But the first time I remember him calling himself the best ever was in No Feelings days. So Wayne has definitely been like boasting like this. Like it hasn't just been best rapper alive. Even calling himself the best ever for a little while now, over a decade to be honest. Just like most rappers do, right? Like if you know a rapper like Wayne, this is not like Future or Dirk we talking about where dudes just rap to rap. Like Lil Wayne has, subscribed to being the best in his mind. You know what I mean? He's aiming to be the top guy. Like it's not just a guy who's in the game trying to make money in it. And that's one thing that I think, Wayne has always been competitive and not on some, 50 Cent beef shit, have a video of your grandmama type shit. But Wayne has always been about the bars. At least, after he hung out with Gilly the Kid, according to Job, you know what I mean? But, I don't find any issue with it. I think not too long ago, I said that Wayne was not a GOAT candidate, to much dismay of the audience. I'm not going to lie. But, and while I believe that, I said my top 4, and if you're fifth on the list, I'm not sure if you're quite a GOAT candidate. Maybe you are. But, Wayne's resume is stacks up well against anybody. Commercial success, respect from peers, lyrically. You know what I mean? He got the respect. I'm sorry, Sid. You know what I mean?
He has the respect. He has the respect. I'll give him that. Absolutely. I'm not going to argue.
Just because you don't shoot like Steph don't mean you're not a good 3-point shooter. You feel what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I'm just saying, like, Wayne's resume, especially if you're talking, post golden era, he's like, I feel no problem with him feeling himself this way, pause. You know what I mean? Like, it's Lil Wayne. Like, he everybody, is a lot of people, I'm not going to say a majority, but there's a lot of people who say, yeah, Wayne is right. You know what I mean? It's not like he was widely, everyone panned him. There's a section of hip hop fans that believe this is true. So I didn't have an issue with it. I actually appreciated it, especially since he dropped that new single, produced by Swizz featuring X that he was popping that type of shit on there, to be honest.
All right. My quick thoughts on that song. I'll give it to Wayne. He did his thing on it. That beat, I felt
the production so lazy,
messy and all over the place. Like that shit was a mess. The beat was a mess.
Blame you, Swizz. We blame you, Swizz.
Yeah,
sorry,
Swizz. Is Swizz cooked?
We might have to talk about that. That might be a topic, bro.
Okay. All right. So now that you've heard from Mason, what do you think about this his take and Wayne's position that he is the best rapper ever?
Listen, as big of a Wayne fan as he is, the biggest Wayne fan at the table, if he don't even have him in the top 3, like, what are we even talking about here?
Oof.
Like, come on. Like, and again, I understand, as a rapper of his stature, he has a resume. He has a long discography. He's supposed to feel that way. You know what I mean? I understand that. But we talked about resumes. Let's put the resumes side by side. You know what I mean? Does Wayne have what album does Wayne have that's better than Blueprint or Black Album? You know what I mean? What album does he have that's better than Illmatic or It Was Written? You know what I mean? What album does he have that's better than Life After Death? You know what I mean? He definitely has a respect. He has some longevity. He's definitely got hits. But when we really look at the bar work too, and we've talked about this at the table, he got a lot of his style and his swag from us up here, up north in New York.
Yeah.
And all the hoopla about like his metaphors and how clever he is and everything. Like, we have been heard, like, Big L, we have been heard Fab, we have been heard Cannabis, we have been heard Lord Finesse, Jada Kid. Like, so, like, the bar work, if we really put all the criteria side by side, you know what I mean? There's definitely a lot of check boxes he checks off. But I'm looking at bar work. He's not out barring certain rappers that we have in our top 3 or top 5. And the discography. He doesn't have the discography that matches up with some of our, top 5 rappers, right? Or people that, rappers that we regard in that esteem. So, you know what I mean? Like, shouts to Lil Wayne. Obviously, he's been saying it himself, and I I almost feel like he convinced his listeners because he said it so many times that his listeners finally got convinced. It was like, oh, I guess yeah, he is the best rapper alive. But you know what I mean? That's how I feel about it. But he landed at number 7. That's I'm happy with that spot for him. You know what I mean? He seemed to be okay with it. Zane Lowe put the battery in his back, you know, and he feels how he feels about it. But he's not the GOAT. He's not top 3. He's not top 5. I'll say it.
All right. I guess I'm gonna come in from a different perspective. I feel like this Lil Wayne thing gives me a chance to look at the scope of the recent segment of episodes that we've had on the Rap Roundtable and even like on other platforms where they talk about the other guy whose last name is Carter. I feel like I am now the rap fan looking at the younger rapper that people are saying is the best ever, when I heard people who predate him who were better. That's been the argument about that guy when it comes to our recent conversations. And I feel like it's a full circle moment with me looking at Lil Wayne and hearing people say he's the best ever. But I'm like, I don't know about that. I feel like there's other guys. But the other lesson that I take away from this conversation is, in the last few years, how deep the regional divide is in hip hop. Do I think Lil Wayne is the best ever? No. But am I going to continue to beat up people who think he's the best ever? No, because apparently once you leave a certain time zone or a certain zip code, they're not listening to Jay-Z, they're not listening to Nas, they're not listening to certain people. So when we were holding up all of our legends, they had their local stars that they were listening to. Even when Cash Money first started blowing up, when New York and the East Coast rap and even West Coast rappers doing their thing, Cash Money and No Limit and those guys and New Orleans was doing their thing. Atlanta had their whole subculture of rappers down there who were dominating the space. You had rappers in North Carolina, Mississippi, you know what I mean, Florida. So I think because there's a segment of Wayne fans who were not listening to the caliber of rap that we heard, and I don't think they're interested in listening to it because, of course, there's a pushback against New York rap. We know what it is. It's the reality situation. To them, Wayne is the first guy to sound like that. Therefore, he's the best ever. That's the equation. We know he's not the best ever, but for the 32 to 33-year-old who was not listening to all of our favorites in their primes and refuses to go do the knowledge, Wayne is the best thing they ever heard. I'm shooting some bail tonight, Sin. How you feel about that?
I mean, that's a very backhanded bail that you're throwing out there. You know what I mean?
So put me on.
I mean, you just weren't well as basically what you're saying, and I'll agree with you. You know, it's not like I'm disagreeing, but basically, you know, what I'm hearing is they weren't doing the knowledge. They weren't well versed enough in the culture outside of their region to really see where Wayne got his lyrical stylings from. Right. You know what I mean? And you know, I'll agree with that 100%. You know what I mean? But that's why it never impressed me or us. Right. Because, you know, we had been there and done that already.
And that's why, you know, Wayne fans like Mace get mad when I say, if you look at the lineage of what Wayne is today and where he started, because I won't say I'm a full-on day one, but I'm somewhere in that first wave of Wayne fans. We go back all the way to the Cash Money run with the ginormous white t-shirts, the Block is Hot video, the what was the other joint? Back that thing up, all of that. He wasn't rapping like that. Even when his first single, "The Block Is Hot," was that like your classic Southern rap song? Nah, he was rapping with a different kind of cadence. I give him that. It wasn't late '90s Southern rap, but it was not what he became when he dropped 500 Degrees. Mace, I always go to that argument. I'm bringing it up again tonight. When he dropped 500 Degrees, that Wayne and the Carter One Wayne are two different artists. And we all know it's documented history. Wayne fans, I'm not here to slander tonight. I know y'all get really mad at us in the comments. When he got around
Dipset, that to me. I'll slander him all day, every day.
When he got around Dipset, when he got around them Philly boys, when he got around those VA boys who ended up dissing him because they basically called him a dick rider, Mr. Me Too. A lot of things changed about his music making ability where all of a sudden he's wearing a Major Figures chain in the video, and things changed. And from mixtape Weezy through Carter 1, Carter 2, so on and so forth, that rapper, assistance or not, was the best thing since I read to the kids. How do you feel when I say that, bro? Because I feel like he got assistance to get there. It's hard for me to say you the best when you got lifted up a lot. Even questionable penned bars, allegedly. Corey Guns, Jay Mills.
I haven't heard anyone allege this but you, Joe. I'm gonna keep it above.
I read it somewhere.
Mace got himself really situated in his seat real quick. Let me get my bearings here.
Let me go to the quarter man real quick.
Mace heard the same things I heard. He just fronting for the camera. It's all right.
The thing is, I have to, it's very interesting, the argument, not the argument, but the point that Jav made, right? Because for a long time, I felt like, Lil Wayne is like the end of that Rockefeller, era. You know what I mean?
Oh, hell no! You better not.
No, but I mean, in this sense, spiritually, once Lil Wayne became the guy, you knew that era was over. You know what I mean? It was there. So for a lot of hip hop fans, I remember back in YouTube in 2008, 2009. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers used to say, kill Lil Wayne and bring Tupac back. You know what I mean? Those used to be the comments online by a certain era of fan. You know what I mean? So I feel like, Drake is there, but I feel like Wayne.
You saying the South Pole Sweats?
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? So I'm saying like, it's interesting, because that is like, for a lot of people, it's hard for them to accept. The next guy with the crown, right? The guy who, and I'm glad you made the point, Jog, that, almost like hearing you say, I remember the guy before he was the guy, it sounds like niggas talking about Jay-Z that we just heard for a week. You made the point, you know what I mean? Like,
it's not. When as a person, I'm young enough to say that I've been there his whole career. That's the difference here. Like, I was a fan. Like, I watched the evolution of an artist, and I noticed that at a certain point, everything about this artist went in a completely different direction, and his skill set suddenly got better. It's like he bought all the VC in the world.
And I think if you actually like, it was before the Carter 1. He was spitting like that in 03, 04, spitting over ether beats. Like you see, if you dig into the discography, talking about the post 500 Degrees era, pre-Carter 1 era, I'm talking the Squad Up tapes, back when Gunna was first on the team, when he was doing 1,000 bar freestyles over Beanie Siegel shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this, like,
who was he running with
rapper
during that time?
Hey man, little known rapper from Philadelphia. I think Beanie Siegel body slammed him on a truck one time.
All I'm saying is that when he got around certain people, everything.
But what's the problem with that though?
Because when you start wearing the man's chain in your video, and he wrote your bars,
and I feel like it's weird to hold on to that 2-3 year era, and now what we talking about a 25-year plus career.
How is it holding on to when the actuality?
Because by the time we got to No Ceilings, Wayne wasn't even like the rapper like that anymore. You know what I mean?
Why I hold on to it? Because that was his gateway to being taken seriously as a lyricist. True. And again, as a person who listens to all of that New Orleans rap, at least a good 6 years of a different kind of rap, then I noticed that your cadence sound like you're from Philly all of a sudden. And Gilly don't even, when Gilly raps, he don't even hide it. Like, Wayne didn't even take the bars. He took the whole thing. It was almost like he had a reference vocal.
And
you got me slandering this man. I came in peace.
Nah, because
very severe allegations, John.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like you got Wayne has never even like been like shy about the influences, right? Like he, like we know he loved Hov. We know before he was getting dissed by him that he loved Pusha T, right? And he literally used to have Gilly in the background in his videos. He wasn't hiding it, you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't think it's as big of an asterisk as, we made a video, you know what I mean, where Biggie stole a whole track from a nigga from Mississippi. You know what I mean? Like,
That was Biggie or that was Puff?
Hey, Biggie sung it.
You're right. I tried that.
But look, as opposed to Job, like I look at all of that. I look at all those factors, and they play. I feel like they play a part in how I feel about Wayne, but like not a huge part, not as much as Job. Again, I'm always about the resume and the discography. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I have a question for Mace in earnest. I'm not, the same funny style or nothing. Right?
No,
I'm really trying to get your perspective. Does Wayne have a better album than The Blueprint?
No, Wayne doesn't have a better album than The Blueprint.
Black Album?
That's tough. That's tough.
He does it, bro.
That's tough.
Stop.
That's tough.
All right, let's go.
Because he only has 2 choices. Because if they call it 3, 4, or 5.
Reasonable Doubt.
Reasonable no. Okay. I know that's what I'm not a Black Album guy like y'all. I'm a Reasonable Blueprint guy.
Okay. All right. All right. Does he have a better album than Illmatic or It Was Written?
Illmatic. Nobody has an album better than Illmatic. You know what I mean? So definitely not.
Life After Death. Matter of fact, let's go with Pop. Does he have a better album than Me Against the World or All Eyes on Me?
Oh man, that's tough.
Yeah,
that's
see,
tough.
And this is where
that's tough.
This is where all the Wayne fans lose me because it's like, yo, the discography is there and it doesn't stack up. You know what I mean? It just doesn't.
I got a question.
One more question. Go
ahead.
What's the iconic Wayne verse? Like, what's a verse that you're like, yo, he ate he ate the entire track. Everybody else that's on the track, he ate. Just name one.
Cannon.
He got a couple of those. I ain't even gonna count.
He got Cannon.
He got a couple of those.
He got Cannon. You right.
07, 06, 07, 08, Wayne got a few of those. I can't even front. I think that's why you know what it is, and I'm gonna come clean because as we expand our reach and we bring in new listeners, these are opinions, we're rap fans, etc., etc.
Yeah.
A lot of what I say about Wayne comes from a place of hurt because I actually love Lil Wayne. Again, I was there from day one, from the first Cash Money video on Rap City. I'm aging myself. A lot of y'all Wayne fans don't even know what Rap City is. I always liked Wayne. To this day, every now and again, I'm driving home, I'll put on The Block Is Hot. Like, I fuck with Wayne. For me, it was when you start saying you're the best, and these allegations are surrounding you, and I know sonically that there was some changes around your cadence, your bar work, and the way you were never a punchline rapper, and all of a sudden you got all of these different punchlines. It made me just look at him sideways because as a fan, it's like, you're saying you're the best rapper, but did you do the work to be the best? Or did you cheat the game? That's really it. And you know what, Mace?
And see,
yeah, bro.
Go ahead, Joe. My fault. No, I was saying, and see, I think our clash there is that I think that it's more of a I love this shit so much I'm a copy it exactly type of thing than I was getting assisted type of thing. So that's my only part of it. You know what I mean? And if you want to say, hey, how can you be better than Jay-Z when you was trying to beat him his whole career? I can take that. You know what I mean? I can take that. You know what I mean? So that's where our differences of opinion go. I think it's more of I'm in the studio with this nigga. Right. I'm watching his every move. I'm stealing his swag like a big brother type of thing.
Almost as Rockefeller.
That's the way I took it. You know what I mean? Because Gilly served that role. Jay-Z spiritually served that role. Pusha T served that role. Cameron served that role. Like, Lil Wayne is a watch you and adopt type of rapper. You know what I mean? But he combined all of that for a style that you may or like.
And he definitely
may or may not like.
Early Wayne notable moments had a lot of killer Cam, and he don't get a lot of credit either for Wayne's ascent. You know what I mean? Think about his Sucker to Not verse. That's Cameron's cadence. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he was Dipset Wayne for a little while. Like, that summer 06, they had him out of Harlem in Dipset jerseys and in J.R. Ryder videos. So, I think he's one of those type of dudes. You know what I mean? Like, he get around you and just kind of like,
so
you know what I mean? Trying to get just like you.
Mr. Me Too?
Hey, man. They made a song like that one day. They did.
Nah,
They
but
did.
I fuck with Wayne, and what I say is if you're a rapper and you don't think you're the best, or if Sincere, the interviewer, was asking Mace if he thinks he's the best interviewer, and Mace says, you know what, I think Jar's better than me. You're not doing the rapper thing right. You know what I mean? You gotta
Right.
say you're the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sincere, you got any final words on this Wayne topic, bro? I see you over there.
Number 7, somewhere in the top 10. Not me personally, but I'm happy where he landed on the list.
It's fair. And I guess being a Billboard, you gotta think about the stats. This is not a MC. I think that's where a lot of niggas is getting this confused. It's not an MC list. Y'all keep talking about
Right.
MCs when y'all talk about this Billboard list, and it's a rappers list from Billboard. So stats are gonna matter. Stats, clout, impact, etc. All that's gonna matter. Honestly, I'd put him above, what's his name, Eminem. I swap, put M at 7, put Wayne at 6. I'm not mad at that. Nah, not even M.
That makes more sense.
Damn, not even M, son.
I can't do it.
Yeesh.
I can't do it. That early M is too vicious, man.
Impeccable. In fact, they've had different careers as M got worse and Wayne got better. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Right. They first dropped the same year. They both dropped in '99. It's crazy. Wayne don't seem like a rapper that's been around as long as Eminem, right?
Which goes back to my point. I'm a burgeoning old head. I was 14, 15 when he dropped. He was part of my youth too, Wayne. So again, it's like when I talk about Wayne, there's some emotion involved there. You know what I mean?
Listen, if Wayne had as much of a competitive spirit as he says he has, as soon as he heard that 78 bar Hove verse, he would have gone back in the studio, bro. If I'm Wayne and I really like poke my chest out the way he does, like I'm not.
I mean, what you was gonna do after 78 bars? Though?
I'm just saying. At least
Sin wanted chaos, bro.
At least 34. You know what I mean?
He wanted an 8
bars. Wayne did that on Mr. Carter.
39.
Remember on the Mr. Carter song, Hove got off and then Wayne came right back after that and dropped a few more bars.
Yeah.
So on his song, he did what he was supposed to do. He said, "You're not about to kill my song. Nah, let me get that back." Real quick, Big Gipp, making more news. Apparently, Big Gipp does not like New York rap. He doesn't like the lore that surrounds the history of New York rap. So on the latest Art of Dialogue clip that floated on YouTube, that man is making a killing. Shout out to the Art of Dialogue. I got his name.
Oh man,
change. He made a comment that Ludacris, I'm paraphrasing, doesn't get the love he deserves in Atlanta because he was too friendly with New York during his run, and I guess it backfired. I think he might have said that New York don't appreciate him.
Oh, because you wanted to rap like good rappers? All right, copy.
But go ahead, Sin. What do you have to say about Big Gipp?
I'm just
Andre
saying,
3000 not good, Sin? What the hell?
Nah, I'm saying like, come on, man. Like Andre he don't really get the respect in Atlanta the way he's supposed to either. You know what I mean? But nah, man, I always fuck with Luda. I always thought of him as like an Atlanta type, Busta Rhymes type. You know what I mean? Always gave you hard-hitting lyrics. He gave you the personality, the charisma. The videos was always crazy. But he was barred up, man, and his delivery to me was always the thing that I appreciated the most, right? Because he always delivered the bars in a way, not just the cadence, but just like the force of his voice. You know what I mean? And I guess Gipp's point, that's not what most Atlanta rappers sounded like, or most down south rappers sounded like. And I guess they took some issue with that. But I mean, to me, it was like, no, Luda knows, he knows what's up. You know what I mean? You got to sound like a New York nigga if you want to really, get those bars off. You know what I mean? That's what it is.
Go ahead, Mace.
Shouts to Luda, man. I want to say shouts to Luda real quick. Stin already said, been a dope lyricist. From way back then, we could tell Luda was nice. It wasn't like we had to learn it in retrospect. You heard Luda, you knew, you know what I mean? Sin mentioned, who you mentioned, Sin? that he sounded like Busta. Himself, he's always said Redman was his biggest influence. So
Redman too. Yeah.
So shouts to him. Classic Made You Look verse remix. One of the few. I think is he the only one to get Jay and Nas on a song by himself? Like that wasn't a Jay and Nas song. I Do It for Hip Hop. If y'all remember that, he got Jay and Nas on there. I don't think anybody ever got Jay and Nas verses on the same song. So that shows you he has respect. You know what I mean? I think it's weird what Gipp is saying. Because as far as I know, we just mentioned Wayne. Wayne got swag from New York and went back and ran the South. I remember T.I. doing the same thing. I remember Rick Ross doing the same thing. People have come to New York, gotten their shit together, and blew up in other and still was running the South with no problem. Ludacris fell off because the content fell off. He cut his hair. He thought he was going to be a serious rapper with Mary J. Blige, runaway love songs. That's why Ludacris fell off. You know what I mean? So he stopped making good music. Yeah. So like, I think Gipp is just, maybe he got some sort of issue. You know, Luda is not even really from Atlanta. He's born in Chicago. I think he moved out there like in his early teens. So maybe it's like a inner Atlanta beef type shit. Gipp just got a problem with Luda. Because to just say that, I don't think that doesn't happen. Usually people go to New York and they states always accept them back. So I think Gipp is just finding another way to mention New York. He got an issue with Gipp. I mean, he got an issue with Luda on the low. So I think Art of Dialogue is handing them, some shots of Patron, in between the edits.
It's getting to me, that Gipp is kind of leveraging the fact that there's a lot of truths to what he's saying, especially when he's talking about rap history, with some of his opinions and, dare I say, hurt feelings when it comes to what rap history is and how it's viewed, how it's portrayed, so on and so forth. New York is always going to be talked about, especially his time, in a certain regard, because to quote Deanie, we started this shit. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us, it's ours. We started it. There's a lot of legendary figures. A lot of the architects of what hip hop is New York. A lot of the architects of what rapping is, or the art of rapping, is New York. Have other regions come and added something and elevated and expanded what rap is? Hell yeah. Big Gipp is part of that. But there's a fine, very fine line, and we talked about this before, between spitting facts and being a hater. And at this point with Gipp, it's a lot of hurt feelings. It's a lot of hate. Because it's rare that you see extremely successful people in the rap industry who go on any platform and talk the way Gipp talks, right? Name a successful rapper right now, successful mogul within hip hop, who's going on a platform or who has a platform who talks like that. If you're telling me you can't hear the sour grapes in what Gipp is saying, then you just don't want to hear it, or it jives with your sensibilities. It's corny now. Leave New York out of it. Just say you don't think Ludacris made music that resonated in Atlanta, and we get left it at that. Stop pulling our city into it, because again, it's almost like when you trying to sell a brand. Like I always jokingly say, when you watch an iPhone commercial, they don't talk about Galaxy or Samsung. But when you watch a Galaxy commercial, they find a way to mention iPhone. So what does that tell you? It's clear who's number one, and it's clear who's number two, right? New York is not going out their way to slander the South. Most we do is say, hey, we don't like that sound. We don't like this artist, so on and so forth. But again, if you're dope, you'll get played in New York City. Ludacris was nice to New York, but he didn't make New York rap. I don't think anyone confused Ludacris with being a New York artist. To me, he was one of the first who really, of the new guard, not the old guard, but the new guard, that blended that fine line between maybe having a New Yorkish cadence and making Southern music. His music was heavily Southern for our New Yorkies.
Extremely, yeah.
But he was barred up.
Yeah.
And the clear enunciation of the word, he didn't have like the Southern drawl, you know what I mean? So
yeah, a little twang, but not the drawl.
Not the drawl, and I guess that rubbed people the wrong way. Like, oh, what are you trying to be?
But he don't even talk like that. So it's like, how can he sound like? And if he would have, y'all have called him a fraud. And it's like, to y'all point, I talked about Redman. as I got older and I went back, when I started, my ears grew up a little bit more and I listened to Redman. Ludacris is a Redman disciple. His whole delivery is Redman with a bigger voice. But the cadence, the way he sets his bars up, it's Redman. He's literally Redman 2.0.
Videos, like
leave Ludacris alone. And it's like, to me, the best part of 2023, and I'll leave it here when it comes to Gipp and these comments, is that there's gonna be a receipt for all of this shit. There's gonna be a lot of people who are gonna have something to say about Big Gipp in 2023, and somehow the of us gonna get to Luda, and Luda's a clever guy. I look forward to all the shots being thrown back at Big Gipp. I can't wait.
Yeah, and another thing that I just thought of that kind of bothers me is that, like, it's funny when you hear how the narrative changes based on like what your angle is. Because like, you know, when the Jay-Z conversation is happening, it's like, oh, Jay-Z was only New York. He wasn't big on the West Coast. They wasn't listening to him on the West. They wasn't listening to him in the South or in Atlanta or whatever. But then you have Ludacris from Atlanta, and now all of a sudden it's a bad thing that he's, you know, breaking out of his area and getting too close with New York and getting too friendly with New York. It's like, all right, do you want motherfuckers to be national or global, or do you not? Do you want them to stay within the region that they're in, or do you want them to actually blow up nationally and internationally? Like, pick one, but you can't be flip-flopping back and forth based on who the artist is.
Well, I think especially for people of a certain age, they prefer the regional divide because that's how they came up.
And I could tell, like that, you like how you mentioned that, like, Gipp can't have any political connects if he's talking like this. This is a kamikaze mission. You know what I'm saying? I don't even think he has Dre or Big Boy's number right now, if you want me to keep it a stack, because he talking like he got nothing to lose. Like, because why didn't you say this in, 2013 or 2003? Why are you saying this all these fucking years later? So I think that, Gipp, man,
he saw that Lil Boozy made a career of being a personality on platforms, and I think this is phase one of Big Gipp just being an interview guy. Get on the platform. Man. Yeah. Don't be surprised if in like a few weeks from now there's a big IG live or something with Big Gipp, and he's just holding court, or he does a show like Fat Joe does, or he'll be back on the Art of Dialogue responding to the backlash about his comments.
For
you know what I mean?
Looking for that.
I could see.
Looking for that Big Gipp Jaguar Wright collab.
Talk about it.
Oh man!
By the way, did anybody download that mixtape with James Worthy? No. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yo, Mace, take us home, bro.
Yo, man, listen. I think it was Jay Worthy, by the way, guys.
No, it was James.
No, it was James Worthy. It already was James Worthy.
Yeah.
And on that note, big game, James. We're out of here. Listen, man. It's your boy Job, the point guard. Throwing the live, the architect of this shit. We got my boy Sincere, the rap snob, super producer. You know what I mean? My fucking guy. And shouts to Dini, enjoying the good life right now. We'll see. We'll see him. We'll see him soon.
True,
you know what I mean? We gonna want to hear it. True boy, rest in peace. Shouts to Daylight. And I'm your boy Macito. And this is the Rap Roundtable. We out of here.
We out of here. Run them Daylight numbers up.
Facts.